Could dinosaurs be roaming other planets right now? In other words, could dinosaurs be living at the very same time human beings are? We're about to find out. Welcome back. This is Joel Duff. And are you ready to find the union of science and faith, dismantle creation myths, and engage with God's amazing creation? Well, then you've landed in the right place. But today, we got an episode of Ham Bytes, where we react and respond to the words of the leading young Earth creation apologist. Today, we find Ken Ham is dismayed by evolutionists who believe that there are dinosaurs living on other planets. Well, are there really evolutionists that believe there's dinosaurs living on other planets? We got to ask that question. And he's dismayed because he's made fun of for believing that dinosaurs and humans once lived together, in the very recent past, here right on Earth. So what's up with this outrage from Ken Ham today? Well, let's find out. Coming up next. So today's words of wisdom from Ken Ham come from an article that was announced here on the front page of Answers in Genesis. Jurassic World. Might it exist on another planet? Wow, now that's not clickbait. Yeah. I mean, could I possibly have looked at this title and not clicked on this to find out? Could there be Jurassic Worlds on other planets? I have to find out. Evolutionists say Jurassic World might exist. Yeah, it could have actually existed. Not just here on Earth, but on another planet. What's that all about? So Ken Ham goes on to say, starts out his article, claiming to be wise, they became fools. Creationists are routinely mocked by evolutionists for believing that mankind once lived with dinosaurs. Yes, I'm sure there are atheists out there that mock Ken Ham for the whole dinosaur humans living together, having saddles on dinosaurs and riding them around and having them pull carts and so forth, and having a lot of fun with that. Of course, I don't think that it's reasonable to think that dinosaurs and humans live with each other. That is only an inference from a particular reading of scripture, which then demands that dinosaurs and humans live at the same time as each other. But aside from that particular interpretation of scripture, there isn't any evidence the two have lived together at all, right? There's no evidence. Well, I mean, you've got the Pluxee tracks, and you have a few other things that are claimed by some creationists, not all creationists, to be actual evidence of dinosaurs and humans living at the same time. But barring some far-fetched evidence, which even most young Earth creationists don't accept as bona fide evidence, there isn't any physical evidence that dinosaurs, as an entire group of thousands of different kinds of dinosaurs, ever had any interaction with human beings. So then Ken Ham goes on to say, so I had to shake my head and chuckle, all right? Right? We're made fun of all the time. But now look what these evolutionists are saying, right? I read this first line of this article. A new study argues that a real-life Jurassic World might currently exist. Not just this wonderland from the past that we infer could have happened, but there might actually be one that's present right now for us to look at. The only problem is it's on another planet. Yes, according to a new study, we're going to focus on that new study thing. I promise this isn't going to be very long, but we're going to talk just about a few things here. And one of those things is this idea of a new study. What study is he referring to? And do the authors of that study actually make this claim? You've already guessed. The answer is no, they do not make this claim. But here we have Ken Ham saying, yes, according to a new study, planets far away from the Earth could be harboring species that resemble Earth's dinosaurs. And humans may currently have the ability to find them. We might have the current technology to see these dinosaurs or things like dinosaurs living on other planets. Right? That's the claim of this study. So dinosaur-like creatures have evolved on another planet and might be living right now. I mean, that's his conclusion from reading the title of this paper and presumably reading the article itself. We just have to find that planet by searching for planets with high levels of oxygen in their atmosphere, and voila, we'll find these dinosaurs, this Jurassic World somewhere out there. Far, far away. A long, long time ago. Far, far away. So what is this article, right? The linked article. You just read the first line of this article and presumably the article itself. Now, shocking. It's a Fox News article. Real life Jurassic World might exist, just on another planet. Now, read the byline to this, right? Special telescopes could be used to detect conditions on other planets similar to the dinosaur era. What this paper, what the original research is about, is a study of to detect the molecular composition of other planets. We take the spectra that's being emitted, right, from, how do we find out about other stars and what they're made of? Well, the spectra, all right, of the light coming to us, the electromagnetic radiation coming to us, can be measured to determine what elements, all right, are responsible for that particular spectra. Same way with exoplanets, right? Planets outside our solar system. And so if we knew what the conditions were of the Earth from hundreds of millions of years ago, what would our spectra look like if we were, you know, like emitting, right, energy, right, from the Earth, and it was picked up by extraterrestrials? What would they infer from us? Or see what they look at right now. If they were to see what's right now, there's a certain amount of oxygen, a certain amount of carbon dioxide, a certain amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere, and that gives a particular spectral profile of the Earth. But the reasoning of the authors of this paper is that as we look out into the universe and we're attempting to search for planets that could be habitable, could have life forms on them, right? Have the conditions amenable to living things. That we shouldn't just be looking for something that looks just like the present day Earth, but we should be also looking for things that are like the past Earth, right? And the Jurassic Age is well known for its much higher oxygen levels, right? Much higher oxygen content in the atmosphere at the time, right? And the Earth has experienced prior times in which there was a lot more carbon dioxide, a lot more than there is today, very, very long ago, right? So there's been fluctuating amounts of different chemicals in the atmosphere over time, and we've modeled that by looking at the rocks and so forth that were formed during those periods of time, right? To be able to infer atmospheric conditions. And so all this paper is doing, I'll show you the front page of this paper in a moment. All this paper does, and all these authors do, is they're simply asking, all right, if we were to model what the Earth's atmosphere looked like in the past, we could model what the spectra would look like if we were looking at it from somewhere else, if we were looking at the Earth as if it were an exoplanet. And so that gives us additional like signature spectra to look for as we're scanning other exoplanets, giving us a wider range of things to find potentially habitable places. That's really what the paper boils down to. Now, when the marketers, all right, the public relations department gets a hold of, like, all right, we have this physicist doing all these physics things with math and all that, and we want to communicate that to the general public. What do? What you're trying to do is model the Jurassic period, right? And see what that looks like. Well, we call that the Jurassic World. That's what we like to refer to that as, right? There's a movie called Jurassic World. And during that time, there were dinosaurs and really large animals. And so that's kind of a cool thing to say, like, we're looking for planets that have like a Jurassic World-like characteristic. Well, what they just mean is a Jurassic World-like atmosphere. But within that atmosphere, potentially you could have organisms that live and thrive in that particular atmosphere. And on Earth, those are dinosaurs. And so, yeah, could there be dinosaurs on other planets living under those similar conditions? That's quite a stretch, to say the least, about just how evolution happens and expectations of whether you would get the same type of creature. If you replayed the tape, would you get the same thing again, as Stephen Jay Gould would ask? So no, the researchers never suggest in the paper that there is a Jurassic World out there with dinosaurs in it, right? That's not even mentioned in the original article. This is simply the spin put on it by the public relations department of the university, for which one of the investigators works, as they're trying to promote, like, hey, see, look, here's things that our researchers done, and here's how to understand this in layman's term, like why this research is important. You see this Fox News article, of course, picks up on that and then takes it to new levels of exaggeration, right? Compared to even the press release, and definitely compared to the original paper. Right. According to the study, researchers on Earth could detect such life by searching for compounds that are not currently present in our planet, but were during the age of the dinosaurs. All right, that's just what I said. I mean, they're correct here in their description of what this research is about, right? They're really just looking for how to detect life from compounds in the atmosphere. The Earth had higher oxygen levels, um, potentially allowing dinosaurs. Now that's a somewhat controversial theory about what caused or what allowed dinosaurs to grow so large. This other little bit from the Fox News article here on the right side: planets far away from Earth could be harboring species that resemble Earth's dinosaurs. That's the part that Ken Ham quotes. Right. And again, this part is nowhere to be found in the original research or by the original authors. Right. This is just something that is being pitched as sort of like a catchy thing that caught my eye, that made me read this particular article. And likely, if you had seen this headline somewhere, you would be caused to read it as well. And then probably be, just like me, a little bit disappointed. Although I wasn't really disappointed. I knew exactly what to expect, which is I had extremely low expectations of finding out that there was actually dinosaurs, or that even evolutionists think that there are dinosaurs living on other planets. I don't know any evolutionists who think there are dinosaurs living on other planets, right? So I knew that wasn't going to be the case going into this. But the naive reader, and by naive, I only mean that they just don't know science very well. They don't know evolutionary biology. They don't know physics at all. And so they don't have any expectations. Ken Ham can easily shape the expectations of the reader, and therefore, once again, perpetuate this idea that evolutionists are just saying these crazy things, right? Like, oh, they're taking their ideas and expanding them out to like envisioning what is developed and originated on other planets, when this is far from what this actual research suggests. So here's the Cornell Chronicle, which is from Cornell University, and this is essentially their press release. Jurassic Worlds might be easier to spot than modern Earth, right? Our particular conditions might be less likely out there in the rest of the universe than the past conditions of the Earth. Those conditions, especially since as you look billions of light years away, you're looking billions of light years into the past. And therefore, you're looking at younger Earths and many solar systems than you would be to present day Earth. So it kind of makes sense that you would model what the Earth looked like earlier in order to investigate what you expect to see, like predict to see, and create filters and so forth in your computer models in order to sort through all the billions of bytes of data in order to potentially find exoplanets that have these signatures. And yes, the Cornell Chronicle begins with a catch line to try to get you to read the rest of the stuff. Might a Tyrannosaurus roam the TRAPPIST-1e? That's a famous exoplanet. Protoceratops on Proxima Centauri, right? They know that they're just making that up. Just like wow, is that something to think about? Does anyone really think that that's there? No, but it's just a catchy thing to say, like, but there could be a Jurassic world in the sense of the atmosphere could be very Jurassic-like. And by the way, if you find a Jurassic-like atmosphere, there's likely living things that are generating components of that atmosphere. Now, what those things are, almost certainly not a dinosaur, but it could be some living form that's generating the types of methane and carbon dioxide, or oxygen, different isotopes could be generated by living things. And that's why it's so interesting to look for these various signatures. Things may not have ended well for the dinosaurs here on Earth, but Cornell astronomers say that the light fingerprint of the conditions that enabled them to emerge here, including abundant atmospheric oxygen, provide a crucial missing piece in our search for signs of life on planets orbiting other stars. That's the key. That's the key part. That's the part that actually describes what they have done or what they're attempting to do. The whole dinosaur thing is just thrown on. All right, so Ken Ham reads a Fox News article. Did he go and did he read this, which actually gets a little closer to the actual story? And I seriously doubt Ken Ham or anybody about him went and looked at the original article. Now, I didn't watch the Answers News component that went to this. I mean, they talked about it on Answers News, the live program. So maybe they talked a little bit more about the actual research. And maybe they recognize that this is, just kind of a silly example. But Ken Ham's blog, right, doesn't read that way. He reads as if, like, I can't believe that they can suggest there's dinosaurs on other planets when I get in trouble for suggesting there were dinosaurs living just 4,000 years ago. That's not apples to apples comparison going on here. So here's the original paper. Original bounty for Earth-like exoplanets, spectra of Earth through the Phanerozoic period in the Royal Astronomical Society. And I could read you the abstract, but it's a bunch of physics stuff. Just talking about what life was like, what we know about the Earth's past. And I'm like, well, I'll hold it up for you. I don't have any copies of it. I didn't take a PDF of it. I'll show you the figures right here. Oh, can you see that? Right there? Lots of figures like that. That's the changing oxygen and nitrogen, carbon dioxide concentrations in the atmosphere over time. And then they go on to produce spectra of particular atmospheres. So they take the various chemicals that would have been in the atmosphere, right? Methane, oxygen 3 isotopes, oxygen 2 isotopes, and the ratios between those. And then they do a whole bunch of analyses to show you what those light spectra that would come from an atmosphere that has that, what would that look like, right? And that forms your baseline data so that your computer models and so forth can begin to chug away on the enormous amounts of data that is collected by various telescopes. Right, so it's basically a very mathy chemistry type of article. It's just a couple pages long. If you just saw, for his audience of potentially hundreds of thousands of people that are going to visit the website in the next few days, are going to see this whole thing where they're saying evolutionists believe that there are dinosaurs on other planets, right? How could they believe such an outrageous thing and get upset that we're suggesting dinosaurs actually lived on the Earth, which we know they did, and we simply think they lived together with human beings? But that's really not the story here. That isn't the story. And he's parenthetically, he's really doing the same thing that these folks that are promoting these articles, right? These publicists are doing. He's doing the same thing, right? He's creating a catchy title. He has a particular message he wants to send, all right? He wants people to read this article. Unfortunately for his article, it's not associated with like some other bigger, more important piece of data, right? Something that's actually adding to our knowledge base. And we're trying to use some catchy way to get people to think about why it might be important. He just has an idea that he wants you to remember, and that is we're treated unfairly. And these evolutionary biologists, I guess saying dinosaurs is something about evolution, but this is really about astronomy. That's what this is about. It's not about astronomy. It's not about evolution, not biological evolution. And so all he wants to do is just sow this idea that scientists are crazy, right? They're willing to believe anything when they won't believe something that's much simpler in his mind to believe, which is that the Bible says that dinosaurs and humans live together. Despite the fact that, I'll say it again, there is no strong, there's no even weak physical evidence to suggest that's the case. Well, okay, that's it. I guess let's wrap it up. That's, here's Dolly's vision of what Ken Ham's vision is in his mind of what dinosaurs and other planets look like. And so thanks for hanging out with me. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.